What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to the show. I'm Chris Williamson alongside Eamon McEnany. Ahead on the show, it appears the Yanks got their swagger back versus the Dodgers. So could they make it 2 straight against LA Saturday afternoon? Highlights ahead.
And Chris, the Jets were in action at home against the Saints. We'll have a recap from MetLife as well. But we begin with the Mets turning to Zach Wheeler for the second of 3 between the Amazons and the Braves. New York trying to bounce back after that tough extra inning loss against the Braves on Friday. Jeff McNeil activated off the injured list after a strained hamstring, available off the bench but not starting. The Braves with 2 on in the second. Former Yankee Francisco Cervelli getting his first Major League plate appearance since May 25th, and he ripped Zach Wheeler's pitch into the left field corner, plating the first 2 runs of the game. 4-0 in the bottom of the third. Mets with runners on the corners for Joe Panik. He grounds one to first. They try for the double play, but it's a bad throw. Atlanta only gets the 1 out. The Mets get on the board, pulling within 3. Still 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th with a man on third. Ahmed Rosario goes the other way for an RBI single, and the Mets pull within 2. After a Panik single, Pete Alonso, the 1-0 pitch, deep to center field. No doubt about this one. Into the black. Gone. A 3-run shot gives the Mets a 5-4 lead. Alonso's 41st homer, tying of the Mets' single-season record. It doesn't last long, though. Top of the 6th, Atlanta with a man on second. Rafael Ortega singles to right. Michael Conforto's throw to the plate is offline. Great base running by Cervelli, and that ties things up at 5. Still tied in the top of the 8th, Atlanta with 2 on and 2 out. Ronald Acuna facing Brad Brock, and he delivers the single into left. The go-ahead run scores. J.D. Davis holds onto the ball and then lofts it in, and Billy Hamilton takes advantage. The speedster races home with an insurance run. It's 7-5. Injury to insult in the 9th after allowing a homer to Freddie Freeman. Edwin Diaz in pain following this pitch. They call for help. He would leave the game with trap tightness. The Mets lose their second straight. 9-5's the final. Here's Diaz on that injury.
Desde que estaba calentando estaba sintiendo una molestia en el cuello, pero pues yo pensaba que era, pues podía lanzar con ella, pero cuando entré al juego me sentía incómodo y por eso fue que llamé.
When I was warming up, I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable right in like my neck area. I thought I could loosen it up eventually, but it just tightened up when I was pitching.
What is that feeling in the moment as soon as you release it and you realize that he's heading for home?
It's helpless, you know. With Hamilton, his speed, I saw that he was 3/4 of the way. But, it's just perfect timing. I don't know if they obviously probably drew it up, but it was a good high baseball IQ.
We've been extremely resilient all year. And, yeah, I mean, these 2 losses are tough, but, I mean, all of us, in this locker room are pretty high character guys. I mean, we've come a long way to get here, and we still have a really good opportunity ahead of us.
And this look at Pete Alonso's most recent milestone is presented by Geico. Alonso now moves into a tie with Todd Hundley and Carlos Beltran for the most home runs in a single season by a Met. Oh, by the way, Alonso has 33 games left to claim the record all by himself. So did the Mets lose any ground on the Cubbies? Cubbies hosting the Nats at Wrigley, top 3. Nats already up 2-0. Howie Kendrick extends the lead with the single to the left. Washington goes on top 3-0. Later on in the inning, bases loaded for Yan Gomez off Jose Quintana. He goes right back up the middle. Kendrick and Juan Soto score. Nats go up 5-zip. Washington wins it in Wrigley. 7-2 is the final.
So, if you look at the wild card standings now, the Phillies overtake the Mets to move within 1.5 games behind the Cubs for the second wild card spot. Brewers and Mets 2 games behind the Cubbies. Yankees, meanwhile, no wild card concerns for them. They have an 8-game lead in the AL East, facing the Dodgers. CC Sabathia on the hill for the Yanks. No score in the bottom of the 3rd. Former Met Justin Turner changes that with 1 swing of the bat just over the left field wall. Turner's 23rd long ball of the season, 2-run shot. Dodgers up 2-0. Top 4. Aaron Judge getting his mojo back. Deep to center field, number 15 on the season for Judge. The lead is cut in half. It's 2-1. Same score. Top 9. Didi Gregorius at the plate, and he bunts with 2 strikes. The bunt goes foul, and he's out. Now the left side of the infield is wide open, but Didi, that's not going to work. Later in the inning, Gio Urshela grounds to third. Turner elects to go to second, but Brett Gardner with the hard slide takes out Max Muncy. Gleyber Torres, who was on third, thinks he scores, but the umps say time was called. Aaron Boone says, wait, I think Gardner was safe. Umpires review the play as we take another look. Gardner clean, but hard into the bag. The call is overturned. But let's go back to Torres not scoring. Kenley Jansen calls time Glaber's foot is still on third, and eventually the umpire also confirms time being called. So Mike Tauchman comes up with the bases loaded. He swings and misses. Next batter, Gary Sanchez. Same result. Yanks come up empty and lose a tough one. 2-1 the final. Here's Aaron Boone on Torres not scoring.
Gabe said he killed it. And, just looking back, Kenley, held his hands up. It looked to me like Glaber had already started down the line with a guy down on the field. So, home plate umpire said he had killed it.
We have just teed off on this edition of Sports Night. Pete Alonso electrified Citi Field once again on Saturday, but it wasn't enough. John Harper and Anthony McCarron stopped by to discuss another tough loss to the Braves for the Mets. And Sam Darnold most likely took his final snap of the preseason when the Jets played the Saints Saturday. We'll have highlights and reaction when Sports Night continues only on SNY.
Geico Sports Night is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Weather's perfect. Family's all together.
And we switched to Geico, save money on our boat insurance.
How can it get any better than this?
Dad, I just caught a goldfish.
There's no goldfish in this lake.
Whoa.
It's pure gold. We're gonna be rich. We're gonna be rich!
It only gets better when you switch and save with Geico.
The redesigned Jeep Cherokee has best-in-class technology and over 80 safety and security features. So the further you go, the more connected you'll feel.
Feel free to do it all at the Jeep Labor Day sales event with $1,000 bonus cash. Or well-qualified returning lessees get a low-mileage lease on one of these Jeep vehicles for under $200 a month.
6, 7, 8.
Big dreams start with small steps. But dedication can get you there. So just start small. Start saving. Easily set, track, and control your goals right from the Chase mobile app. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
When I was first told that I needed a mastectomy, it was unsettling to me.
Valerie came to see me as a second opinion. She said, I've been diagnosed with cancer and I need a mastectomy. And I said, what if we had other options? What if I told you that we could possibly spare you a mastectomy? And that's ultimately what we did.
Once again, a rough night for the Mets, falling 9-5 to Atlanta, but it might have gotten even worse when the Mets pulled Edwin Diaz from the game in the ninth after he gave up a homer and left the game with an injury. For more on the Mets' loss, here's Eamon Akinade and the BNY guys.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot. Joined by Anthony McCarron and John Harper. We're going to get to the Diaz injury in just a little bit, but let's start big picture with the game. Friday night's loss was a tough one because, once again, wasting another great Jacob deGrom effort. This one, Harp, a double whammy because Alonso gives them the lead. Everyone's fired up, and then one sloppy play after another, whether it's on the base paths or J.D. Davis, they really let this one get away.
Yeah, this is a really bad loss, Eamon, in a lot of ways. You know, first of all, you expect more from Wheeler. He comes right out of the box, gives up 4 runs. He's all over the place with his location. You just expect more of him. He's just so inconsistent, you know, it can drive the Mets crazy. And then, this play, I know Mickey said it was a good play, but it's not a good play. You can't get thrown out at third base there when you're already in scoring position. And then the other play by J.D. Davis, that's just inexcusable. And you can't, it's not about inexperience, it's about understanding the game, and you got to be better than that.
Yeah, I agree with the idea that J.D. was overthinking it a little bit there, too. He admitted it after the game that he should have just gotten the ball into the cutoff man and be done with it. But you don't need to peek at Acuna. You got the fastest man on the planet, or at least in a baseball uniform, running the bases there in Billy Hamilton. You got to know that something might be up. Right, exactly. So, the Mets did sort of unravel here with some bad mental mistakes and bad plays. Look, it's a game that I thought that they took control of when Alonso crushes that homer. That's like the the big moment. That's like the Met moment you're waiting for,
All
and
that
they've
emotion in the
delivered.
stadium.
Right, they've delivered so many times during this run into wild card contention that you expected to.
And to your point, though, that's Wheeler again. Even he admitted, he said that's where you need a shutdown inning once you have the place alive in the lead.
I know. You know, I keep thinking he's going to go on another run, one of his runs, but he's had a few bad ones in a row now. And, you know, their starting pitching has to be better because now we're starting to see the bullpen start to leak a little bit. The bullpen's been good, but you know, it's bound to revert back to some of the problems they've had before. So it's got to start with the starting pitching, and Wheeler's got to be better.
Sounds like you're not buying the idea that Mickey was pushing after the game about how Wheeler, you know, gave him some length at least.
Well, he said he gave him a chance to win. You can't really say that when you give up 5 runs in 6 innings. I mean, he's better than that. That's the issue.
All right, you said leakage in the bullpen. Just when it looked like Edwin Diaz was on track with the 2 strikeouts on Friday, instead it goes from bad to worse as Anthony not only does he give up the home run to Freeman, but as we just saw, he then has to leave the game with strap tightness.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see what this brings on Sunday, Eamon. You know, I mean, I'm curious. He said nothing has been bothering him like this throughout the year, but obviously we haven't seen the guy that we've expected to see in Edwin Diaz, that the Mets expected to see. Shutdown closer stuff. I mean, the guy's given up bombs all over the place the whole entire year, and you know, now this is like, you know, injury to insult with him coming out with this, and we'll see what it turns into for him. But you know, I mean, has he been dealing with something? I don't know the answer to that. We haven't heard of it, you know, before. But, I mean, the performance has just been dreadful all year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously they can use as many bullpen arms as they can get, but I don't think it's such a bad thing if he has a little bit of a timeout here. Everybody got excited. He had the one appearance. He comes in and gets out of the inning last night, but he also hit a guy. It just doesn't look like he knows where the ball's going, and you're going to keep paying for mistakes in location. He threw him right down the middle of Freddie Freeman, and you pay with a home run. I still don't think you can trust him in crucial situations.
I mean, but their bullpen is in a shape there where you got to try to get outs out of Edwin Diaz, too, because his stuff is still pretty filthy. I mean, it looks great when it works, and then, of course, the ball's going over the fence.
Right, yeah, I mean, he's given up way too many home runs. All right, Steven Matz goes to the Hill on Sunday, and I know, okay, they're only 2 out. No such thing as a must-win in August, but Harp, how imperative is it for Matz to give him a quality effort and them to avoid the sweep?
It's important, just like it was in Atlanta last week, and they bounced back and got their last game. And it's really important because they played so well at Citi Field. It feels like they will really lose that momentum if they get swept here. And then you got a big series with the Cubs coming in, so it could be a little bit of a springboard. Matz has been good lately. This is really going to be a test for him because he hasn't been in too many situations where it feels like a must-win.
You know, the players won't cop to stuff like this, but this is an optics game for the Mets, isn't it? I mean, the feel around them has shifted drastically after they wiped the floor with the Indians in the first series of this homestand, and now to come out with these 2 losses to Atlanta, you know, you get a different taste in your mouth about them and their chances where they're headed, and so this is an opportunity for them to sort of stamp, you know, hey, we're still in this, don't worry, it was 2 nights, and we can still get something done.
All right, now to the Yankees, who couldn't come through against the Dodgers. Friday night was the Yankees offense at its best. Saturday was an example of what concerned some Bomber fans, Yankee world problems, as Anthony McCarron might refer to it, but the inability to get that clutch hit or even the sacrifice fly in the game. Anthony, how much of a concern should situational hitting be for the Yankees?
Well, I mean, look, it wrecked their postseason last year, right? I mean, with all the strikeouts that they
and the year before against the Astros.
Right, exactly. So we've seen this act before. You know, you don't want to see it again this coming October, and this is like the little taste here because we're all hyped up about the Dodgers and Yankees series here, even though the uniforms are awful, you know, as a possible October, you know, World Series matchup. And this is the way that this game ends today. You know, they blew this game, I thought, even earlier, too. They had a few mental mistakes, Eamon. You know, Glaber forgot how many outs there were. Didi's bunting you know, I love him bunting against the ships. Don't do it with 2 strikes.
They did get robbed here, though.
Should this run have scored, Harp?
Yeah,
they get robbed here because no way, you can't be calling timeout. Torres, the play hasn't stopped yet. Torres is off the base. Just because the second base or Muncy's down doesn't mean the play is automatically ruled dead unless you're calling interference on Gardner, which they didn't call. So I mean, Torres is headed for home when the umpire's arms go up. So they did get robbed of a run there.
You giving Muncy a yellow card for the dive there?
Well, that
is quite a flop. I mean, first he's flopping to get the call on Gardner, and now it works for him because he takes the run away.
One thing on the clutch hitting, though, LeMahieu, I still think will make a difference. He's cooled off a little bit, but I still think in big at-bats, he's the guy you want to see up there. And Judge, Judge is really starting to turn it around.
Well,
So
What's the biggest difference right now with
To
Judge?
me, he must be healthy now. He
Yeah.
must be fully feeling
he's
well.
really- he's turning on
the
everything
oblique,
now.
right? Exactly. He's crushing and he's turning on it, like you said, John. And it's come up with some big home runs on this trip so far.
LeMahieu, clutch. Gary Sanchez, you didn't have a whole lot of faith in Gary
I did.
Sanchez up
I
there.
can't say that I did.
No, did you?
Why are you guys on Sanchez?
I know you
come
love
on.
Sanchez, but I
He
just...
hit 100 homers in the first 20
yeah,
games
but
of
I know,
his
but we're
career.
talking men on 2 outs. That's not
How many
homers.
times
Put the
have you
ball
seen
in
him chasing
play.
that situation?
Well, that's
the
true.
problem.
He does chase.
All right, Anthony McCarron, John Harper, Baseball Night, New York. We're done for now, but let's send it back over to Chris.
All right, thanks, Eamon. Up next, would Adam Gase and the Jets be up to the challenge versus the Saints and Drew Brees for preseason game number 3? That answer in just a little bit. Plus, a truly shocking story in the NFL Saturday night involving Colts QB Andrew Luck. We'll tell you about it when Sports Night returns.
Welcome to Toyota's National Clearance Event.
Been hearing a lot about some great deals.
Yep, with the great deals on the last of the 2019s and low APR financing options, it's a win-win.
What about me?
It's a win-win-win.
What about us?
It's a win, win, win. Everybody wins at the National Clearance Event.
Right now, lease a new 2019 Highlander with all-wheel drive for just $239 a month. Or get $2,000 customer cash on a new 2019 Highlander.
Save on the last of the 2019s. Come in today.
Toyota, let's go places.
The Great New York State Fair is back, and it's only getting greater. Bring the whole family and make amazing memories. From August 21st to September 2nd in Syracuse, New York. Our 2019 fair features tons of food, animals, attractions, midway rides, and big-name entertainers. Find what you love at the New York State Fair. Get your tickets at iloveny.com.
Baby, I'm not even in the gown. The only thing you have to say is make your jaw drop, drop, saying my drop, drop, drop. Make you say my God, my drop, drop. Make your jaw drop, make you say my God. And you never felt this type of emotion.
Old Dominion puts together a winning performance with precision, a #1 ranking in claims prevention, and by going the distance to become #1 in customer satisfaction. Old Dominion, official freight carrier of Major League Baseball.
This is how we do the summertime, summertime.
Labor Day is here and summer is almost over. And that means so is the Hyundai Epic Summer Clearance. This is your last chance to save big on all remaining 2019s. And to make your summer better than ever. The Hyundai Epic Summer Clearance.
Now, get an Elantra for $119 a month or lease a Sonata for $129 a month. Hurry, offers end 9/3.
Sunday, as training camp winds down, the crew discusses all the major storylines heading into the regular season. Plus, hear from quarterback Sam Darnold.
We're moving in the right direction, which is a good sign.
On Jets Nation Inside Camp, Sunday at 7, only at SNY. Tuesday, Ahmed Rosario and the Mets look to set the tone in the wild card hunt as they go to battle against Chris Bryant and the Cubbies at Citi Field.
Base hit on the Mets win the ball game.
Coverage begins with Citi pregame, Tuesday at 6:30, only at SNY.
Preseason game number 3, Saints at the Jets. Saints opening drive, 40-year-old Drew Brees airs it out to Michael Thomas for the 19-yard TD. What a catch. Jets secondary could be a real problem this season. New Orleans up 7-0. Brees' only series of the game. Jets first drive, Sam Darnold hands off to Ty Montgomery. Montgomery proceeds to fumble the ball. It's recovered by the Saints, who would eventually cash in for a field goal to make it 10-0. So I mentioned Brees is 40, right? Darnold is 22. Quiet in the first quarter, but not in the second. Darnold drops back deep to Robbie Anderson. Good for 41 yards. Take another look. On a dime right into Anderson's hands. Sam looking good on that one. Later in the drive, Darnold floats it in to Montgomery. Makes up for that fumble, a 2-yard TD. Darnold Dunn after that finishes 8 for 13 for 97 yards and 1 TD. Kicking game has been an issue for Gang Green this preseason, but Taylor Bertolette nails the 48-yarder. Jets cut the lead to 13-10. Later in the quarter, Bertolette from 56 yards.